Hello, this is Matt Nelson. In today's video, I'd like to do something a little bit different and show you a grocery dashboard that I made for myself to keep track of my budget, but groceries being one of the higher budget categories. And so I have a SQL database hosted by Microsoft Azure with several tables. And I want to build a dashboard to answer questions about my spending habits. So, for example, what's the total spending per month? What are the trends over time? What percentage of my purchases are organic? Things like that can be answered with a visual dashboard. So I have some tables here. So I have these grocery categories, and so the first thing to do is to look at this. I have grocery categories, I have grocery departments, so that's groups of categories, and then I have subcategories even, and each grocery trip has its own details. So this is the header. So the header information is tracked. So there's a subtotal of the total details of the items purchased and the total tax, and a calculated field for the grand total. The subtotal and taxes come from a trigger, which totals up the grocery trip details. So that's all well and good, but what do we do with this data? This is just the back end. So this is the raw data set. Now, in order to enter data, we need to have a application. So in Microsoft Access, I have created some forms that work with connections to the SQL Server through a open database connection driver. So if we go back to a grocery trip here, back on October 10th, 2017, I went to Price Chopper and bought some yogurt and milk and all kinds of stuff. And then I'm tracking basically key performance indicators of whether or not something's organic, frozen, taxable, or for my children's lunch. So I also wanted to track that as a important category. Okay, so now I have a form where I can enter data, and the data is validated based on the department and the category. So this is just gathered from receipts. So the itemized receipt becomes this list here in a more generic format. So this is the front end, the application that creates the data that's stored in the cloud by Microsoft Azure in SQL. And then to visualize the data, I have a dashboard in Excel. This dashboard uses PowerPivot, which is the same technology that drives Microsoft Power BI and SQL Server analysis services. So it's very robust and powerful calculations, but you don't have to pay for the BI subscription. So I have a timeline here, which allows me to manipulate the charts at will. So my charts and my table will be both connected to this control, as well as my slicers. So slicers are these push button items here that we can see that we can say if I want to see everything that's organic, and then it goes to show me what's organic over time. And I have a combination graph here that shows me the total spending in the month as well as the percentage organic. So if I want to say that organic spending is a key performance indicator, I can add a KPI to my data model. So in PowerPivot, I have percent organic is a KPI. And the formula is simply with a proportion of organic purchases, detail rows, over the total items. So building a formula like this is very simple. These are called data analysis expressions. So it's very usable for the end user to simply type in the name of the measure. So in this case, organic is a measure or a calculated pivot table field divided by items, the total count. And then we can set an absolute value or another measure itself. So there can be a differential rather than a fixed value. In this case, I'm wanting to track against 50%. So anything over 40% is going to be green, between 20 and 40% will be yellow, and under 20% organic will be red. So each KPI gives you 3 fields rather than 1. It gives you the value or the result of the calculation. It gives you the goal, so the 0.5, and the status, which is the conditional formatting signal, which gives you your stoplights. So in this time period, 2018 January through May, I have the total grocery items in the table here. I can see the total trend over time, and I can see the percentage organic as the diamond in the middle of the bar chart. And then on the table, I have the KPI changing color based on the percentage of organic, which is the KPI. So the value is 45%, that's over 0.4, so we get a green stoplight. So we have the ability to slice and dice our data set visually to answer questions about our spending. So there's not much left to be said for that. You can also put in your pivot tables expressed as a percentage of the total. So I have that here. So this table down below gives me my percentage of each category based on the total. But mostly I was just interested in seeing what my spending habits were over time and what percentage organic was it. And then you can answer questions of how much more expensive is organic than conventional food. Those kind of questions can be easily answered here. So I didn't want to spend too much time showing you this. This is just a little show and tell. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.